All right. We are live on Facebook.
Hi, Facebook world.
Woohoo! Good to see everybody. Wake me up before I go.
Wake me up before I go. Who sings that?
Wham. Wham sings that.
I couldn't remember.
Of course.
Of course.
All right. Yes. Okay.
I don't see anybody yet, so let's see.
Nobody's on yet. I see 3 people. People are starting to join us.
All right. Say hello.
Here we go.
Come on.
Yep. Do some chatting with us. Let's see who's here.
We want to know that you're here. We want to say hello to you.
We've had a full week, haven't we? We have been all over the place this last week.
Oh my goodness. I traveled to Omaha, back to North Iowa. I went to Des Moines, back to North Iowa. Is that what I said? It's been a long.
Now I'm confused. I'm confused. Where'd you go?
We for 16 hours. Julie Schultz, hello.
Julie, it's good to see you.
Hello.
We got to see Julie the other day at our fundraiser, so it's awesome to see you in person. Well, it was awesome to see you in person. Now it's awesome to see you on our live.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yes.
All right. We are going to be talking about sexting and porn. And so that is going to be an interesting conversation. We're going to be talking about, is that healthy for youth? And believe it or not, this is a controversial topic.
Controversial?
That's hard for me to believe.
How is that possible?
I know. It's hard. It is hard to believe, but it is a controversial topic. So if you've just joined us, please just say hello to us. We want to see you. I see a few of you coming on. So say hi. Hi.
Hi.
Say hi.
Drop us your favorite emoji.
Ooh, that's a good idea.
Are you an emoji person?
And the more you comment and the more you share, the more this gets out there. So we would love to have you comment, share, put it out there. Ooh, that was a rhyme. Comment, share, and put it out there. Comment, share, and put it out there.
You know it.
That's right. All right. Yeah, so give us a shout with an emoji. A hello, please. I am way behind on my page, so I'm going to have you follow the comments right now.
Okay, I'm following the comments. I'm looking. I'm not seeing anybody, but Julie has said hi. If somebody else has said hello, I'm not seeing it yet.
All right, we'll get you. So as you come on, let's get started, because I want to start having this conversation and make sure that we're talking about all that we need to talk about. So sexting and porn. And now here's the controversy. There are some people who will tell you that sexting and porn can be very healthy for youth. And now this could be, I don't know what ages. This could be middle school. This could be high school. And what they're ultimately saying is that when we're talking about sexting, when we're talking about porn, when we're talking about things like that, that can be some of the healthiest sex out there for youth, right?
That's what I've been hearing some things about that.
Yes.
So that's what we have heard. We have also heard, of course, for a very long time that porn is not healthy and sexting is not healthy. So we're going to kind of go through that a little bit, and we're talking about those as 2 different issues, right? So porn being one issue, is that healthy, and for who, and when, and for what ages, and da-da-da-da-da. And then we're also going to be talking about sexting, which is related to porn, but not exactly the same thing, and talk about if that's healthy and what ages, and those talk about the consequences of those things, and if there are any, or the benefits. I don't know. Maybe there are benefits.
Yes.
I don't know. We'll chat about it.
So I would love to hear your thoughts. If you are on, go ahead and drop a chat and let us know what you're thinking. I would ask that you share this right now with some of your friends, because this will get us more engagement. This will get us talking about it. So let's have a conversation. Yolanda, so now, in all fairness, we did not have sexting when we were teenagers, right?
No, I think we fall into that, like, we're too old for that category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think we fall into that. But we definitely had porn. And porn has come quite a ways away. And so I want to talk a little bit about, why do you think people are saying that sexting and porn is healthy for youth? Now, Julie says, so are they thinking it's safe sex? Great question. That is exactly it. So when we talk about sexting, that youth can, so if you're a teenager and you're in a consensual relationship with another teenager and you're sexting back and forth, there are no STDs exchanged. There's no way to get pregnant or to get somebody pregnant, and it is considered safe sex. Exactly. Now, what do you think about that, Yolanda?
So here's what I will say. I can't deny that if they're sexting, I mean, it's true. If they sex, they're not getting an STD in that way. I
Sure.
can also say that it is true, factual, that if they're sexting, that in and of itself is not going to get somebody pregnant. I can
right. And watching porn in and of itself is not going to get somebody pregnant. I mean, that is absolutely clear, and we know that. And so that is where the controversy comes in, because then on the other side, people are saying, listen, sexting is not a good idea, because not only do we have the risk of, so let's define, maybe we should define sexting first.
Go ahead.
No, I was just, so sexting can be naked photos shared via text, inappropriate photos of any way. It can be, sexual comments so it's that, it's texting with sex, right?
Right, with some sort of sexual component to it, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, so not only, so if we're saying on sexting and talking about it being safe sex or healthy sex, should we define what safe and healthy are?
Oh, well, that's a great idea. Please go ahead.
Well, of course I would ask the question and have to answer it, Stephanie. Yeah, So
I didn't realize
that's
how we were playing.
So, I think we have to think about the word safe. So let's just talk about the word safe. If it's safe, it depends. What are we talking about? Is it safe to not get pregnant? Yes, it's safe to not get pregnant. Is it safe to not get STIs? Yes, it's safe not to get STIs. We've already established that. However, what about, what other risks are involved with sexting that might make it safe or unsafe, both sides of that?
Right. And that's good. Hey, Cindy, I want to say hi to Cindy. Hi to Andrew. It's good to see you. And Andrew asked a question: what age is considered okay for teens to start sexting? Are there maturity issues?
Okay, so we're going to get to that, Andrew. I think that's a great question.
Good question.
And I actually have some thoughts on that. And I do want to say, I want to stop here and just say, guys, that as we talk through this, we are real people that are coming from this as our own opinions, and we'll share with you what information we know about that has brought us to our own personal conclusions. And, you know, we're human beings, so sometimes we might mess up and say something, but we, you know, just know that we're here to talk to you guys and to make this real and give you a place to have these discussions. So
Yeah,
Andrew, thank you for your
absolutely.
question, and we will talk about it. Anybody else have questions, pop it in the chat box there, or the comment box there. And then if you have private questions, you can always text us at what number, Stephanie?
Text us at 402-521-3080.
Very
You
good.
can text us there. And thank you for sharing, Cindy. We would ask you guys all to click that share button and spread the love. Spread the sexting and porn love to all of your friends today. I know that did not sound good. No. Okay. So,
okay.
Here is the controversy. Go ahead.
So sexting. So if we only talk about it from a standpoint of physical, then I guess you can call it safe. But if we start talking about it from a psychological, mental standpoint, and all of the things that go into that, I don't know. I mean, I think we need to talk about, getting to Andrew's question, maturity levels, right? At what point are we mature enough to start to go into that world? And as we know, around the globe, different countries and different societies believe in different things, and they honor the sexualities differently. Some honor really well, and some may not honor sexuality at all. And we've got the conversation of objectifying. So I don't know. So what would you say, Stephanie, are some of the risks of sexting at any age?
Yeah. So here's what I think. And yes, we can talk about it from an emotional standpoint. We can talk about it from a legal standpoint, and we can talk about it from a wisdom standpoint. And I always heard, and this is just, do not ever take a picture of yourself that you do not want to show your grandma. That is what I always heard. And it really is not bad advice, because once you take a picture of yourself that you would not be willing to show your grandma, and I'll tell you, there are some things I would not have been willing to show my grandma. Once you do that and you send it out or you put it on the internet, what have you lost? You have lost complete
control
of that photo. So now all of a sudden, that person that you sent it to, even if you sent it to somebody who you consider a trusted partner, somebody that you're working with, you have completely lost control. And Julie says also, you may be sexting with one person, but what keeps them from sharing that with others? And that is exactly the point. Now, take that conversation from adults to a teen. Now, what do we know science behind the brain? We know that we all have a prefrontal cortex, and the prefrontal cortex in our brain is
right.
Right, exactly. Not ever, yeah, exactly. Functioning, right? But that's our decision maker. That makes the big logical decisions. Okay, do I send this sext? And what's going to happen? What are the consequences? That's the kind of seeing around the corner to be able to determine, okay, if this is what I do, this is the consequence that comes next. And we know that that is fully developed at around 25 for women. 50 for men. Just kidding. Just kidding. Yes, 25. Now, so if 25 is the basic age, and now there's some studies showing that because of smartphones, that number is actually increasing to around 30. So now we may not have a fully developed prefrontal cortex until we're around 30 years old. Now that means not that we can't make decisions, not that we can't make good and thoughtful decisions, but what that means is that there might be some decisions we make that we can't see the consequences too. So we now just I send a naked pic to my boyfriend or my partner, whatever. I send a naked pic and they take it and everything's going well in our relationship. It is just fabulous. And one day we break up. How do I know that that picture is going to stay on the phone that I sent it to and not be sent to everyone in the school?
Okay, so let's talk about that, because one of the arguments for sexting, that is pro-sexting at any age, including for children, one of the arguments is, well, let's just teach them to be safe with each other's pictures. Let's just teach them not to forward that on. Does that work?
Well, I think we can certainly teach kids to not play in the street or eat cookies before dinner or, start fires in places they're not supposed to, right? I mean, we can teach our kids that, but we also know that our kids are kids. And that prefrontal cortex is still developing. And so we can teach our kids these things, and we should. And I think it's really important, and we're going to get to the objectifying piece of that in a minute. But yeah, we need to teach our kids. What happens if somebody asks you for a sext? What happens if you if you want one? What do you do? We need to talk about those things. But I think we also need to say, is that a wise decision? And what are the ramifications of that? Okay, so Andrew says, I can promise you boys are going to share pics and stories.
Yeah. Okay.
Now,
let's go back real quick. So, first of all, hi, Letitia. Hi, Buzzy. It's been a long time.
Hi, Letitia. Hi, Beverly.
Hello. Thank you for joining. Okay, so let's talk about that. So when you talk, we can teach our kid to not eat cookies before dinner. We can teach our kids not to, I don't remember what the other examples were, but we
not to start a fire.
Not to start a fire.
Appropriate place.
Okay, but let's talk about how often we are attempting to teach that, and we continue to teach that. But is it successful the first time?
Usually not. And usually, even when you're talking about somebody, it takes about 7 times to really get that information and capture it.
And so we can, as parents and as community members, adults in the community, we can talk about these things. And that is, yes, absolutely a piece that we should be doing. Okay. And we should continue to say, to be respectful of others. And we can talk about all these things. However, just because we say that doesn't mean that they're going to listen right away, that they're going to pick up the message, understand the message, and act accordingly every time. And so there's still risk with that. And that's a huge risk with a very sensitive, very private thing. We think about, so when we're talking about this with teenagers, we think about how many teenagers are like, Stephanie's my best friend, so I'm going to tell you, hey, Stephanie, I have this crush on so-and-so, but don't tell anybody because I'm really shy, I'm really embarrassed. And then, Stephanie might be excited, maybe she's mad at me, maybe she thinks she's helping, and so she goes and tells others because she wants to revenge on me, because she wants to help me with it and go talk to my crush. And so we know that these things are going on. So how do we, my question, I think, still remains the same, is how do we say that it's safe because we teach them to just not share it? How do we avoid, go ahead.
So let's talk about, so first of all, let's talk about the objectifying piece. So what about teaching our kids that if you're in a relationship with somebody, that you really want to honor them and respect them. And so maybe asking for a naked pic isn't the most honoring thing for somebody. You know, when we talk about, hey, you are incredibly important, you're a human being with dignity and respect. And we know, so I actually did a little when I was at a 6th, 7th grade school talking to a class, and I asked a group of 7th grade girls. Now, 7th grade girls, we're talking like 12, 13 years old. And I asked a group of them, how many of you have received a request for a naked pic? Guess how many said yes, we have?
7th grade?
7th grade.
I would say over half for sure, probably closer to 75%.
It was 100%.
Oh my gosh. That doesn't
100% had said they had been asked to send somebody a naked pic. Now, they had also shared that the people that they were asked by were not people they were dating. They were just people who wanted to see some boobs, right? And so what we are dealing with is something not, oh my gosh, yes, I'm in a committed relationship and I can't wait to see you right now, so send me a pic. This is something totally different. And so if you're asking somebody to send or to receive, you know, send me a pic, what does that make that person feel like? Trina's here. Hello, Trina. It's good to see you. Welcome. All right. So what do you think that makes that person feel like? Because there's going to be a there's going to be a whole bunch of emotions going on. So they might feel embarrassed, but they might feel really good. You know, that might make them feel like, oh my gosh, somebody wants to see me. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Yes. And they might feel ashamed. I mean, there's a ton of emotions that can go on with asking for that.
And those ton of emotions can go on all at the same time. It's not that necessarily, I mean, yes, there could be one who's like, absolutely, this is wonderful. I love the attention. There could be one like, I don't really want to send it, but I feel, trapped in some way. And there can be a lot of people who are like, I don't want to, but I'm going to anyway. It's kind of fun and exciting. It's a whole range of emotions for even one individual most often.
Exactly. Yeah. And they might not know, you know, if you feel really bad about it, but then you're thinking, okay, well, if I don't, what if they say a whole bunch of bad things about me? What if I don't fit in? What if I'm not popular? I mean, there's just a whole lot going on. So then you can talk about on the other end. So I think about like what you said, Andrew, they're going to share, right? So what about talking about requesting pics? So maybe we need to talk too about, do we really want to go there? Do we really want to request pics? Because what are we saying about that other person and talking about maybe objectifying and things like that?
So let me just share this real quick. So when I go in and I talk to our students, I always talk about both of these pieces. We always talk about both of these pieces. And so what we want to think about with this, what I think about with this, I'm trying to stay away from guiding you to an answer, but what I think about with this is that if this is my personal, this is my body, this is my space, right? I get to make all the decisions that go on with my body. If I'm in a relationship with somebody and I choose to hold hands, I choose to kiss or hug or whatever it is, I choose to do that with that person, and then I choose not to anymore, that's my choice, right? The same should be true if there's pictures, but we have so much less control of that. So what gives you the right? What gives you the right to touch me if I don't want you to? What gives you the right to do that? The same thing is also true. What gives you the right to take somebody's picture and have that? What gives you the right to say that just because we're in a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, girlfriend, whatever, just because we're in whatever relationship, that you owe me these pictures and I'm going to make you feel obligated by asking in the first place? And
Absolutely.
that's one of the first things that I want to address, that, you know, respecting other people's boundaries. That's not something that you get a right to just because you're together.
Absolutely. Hey, I want to say hi to Hillary. It's good to
Hi,
see you.
Hillary.
Guys, don't forget to share this, invite your friends, start a watch party, comment. The more you comment, the more we get exposure. Is that the right word? That's probably not the right word when we're talking about sexting and porn. Okay. So Cindy says, what gives someone else the right to ask for a naked pic? Yes, exactly. That's a great point. Great point.
And we're seeing this a little bit with, I think there's a slight delay. So I think we're saying some of the same things as some of our audiences.
Yeah.
But so we're seeing this more and more, and we're hearing arguments for it. And so far, one of the things that I want to talk about, Stephanie, is in all of the arguments that I've heard so far about why it would be okay to sext, especially among teenagers, none of those arguments have yet to discuss what happens when that goes awry. So
that's right.
What happens when that goes bad? What happens when that picture doesn't just get deleted, doesn't just get, stay with that same person? What happens when that picture goes elsewhere? What's the damage there?
Yes. Right. And that's exactly right. And I think that's what we need to talk about, because there's a lot of legalities surrounding sexting, and I do want to talk about that. And we are going to talk about porn too, because these are two separate things, but related. And so when we're talking about sexting, here's what I have seen. Now, we work in the schools with the kiddos, and what I will tell you is that sexting, what we used to see in high school more often, and the issues surrounding sexting, we are now seeing more in middle school and elementary school. So don't think this is just a middle school, high school thing. We are seeing this in elementary school as well. And what we need to do is really work with our kids. We need as parents to not be thinking, oh my gosh, nobody would ask that of my kid, and my kid wouldn't send that in, things like that. These things are happening to fifth graders. These are happening to fourth graders. So we also know that, just personally talking to kids, when we go into a school and we talk to kids, kids will approach us and say, oh my gosh, what do I do? So-and-so has been asking me for photos. I don't know what to do. Or I did this, I feel guilty, now it's going around the school or whatever. We know that there have been suicides based on sex that have spread and all of the things. I have yet to hear from a kiddo, my partner and I have an extremely healthy sexting relationship. I've never heard that. I have yet to hear that. And so what we need to really teach our kids is, again, it goes to that foundation of, you are incredibly valuable. You have human dignity. You are important. And this is not something you have to do to further yourself in school.
Right.
That's really important. Now, let's talk about the legalities, because right now we are talking about kids. Now, I will say, I personally, you do you as an adult can do whatever you want. I personally think the grandma thing holds as an adult, because still you lose control. I mean, I hope that you can trust your spouse, or I hope that you can trust who you are sexting with. But just because somebody is over the age of 18 does not make them a trustworthy person. And so you may have lost total control of that photo. So to answer your question, Andrew, I'm not personally sure there is any time that you're like, let's just share nudes over the phone. It just, to me, it's a loss of control that I want to maintain.
Yep.
Yeah, it is a risk.
Absolutely.
It's a risk. And that includes, I mean, you could get hacked. I'm not going to go into that. Anyway, so let's talk legalities. So we're talking minors now. So adults, there's no law about sexting. You can sext all you want. Again, I personally am uncomfortable with it because I lose control. But when we're talking about minors, all of a sudden there's a legal issue that is employed. And that is that when I send you, Yolanda, a naked pic of me and I am under the age of 18, I'm sending you child porn.
Yep.
And now you're receiving it.
Yep.
And that is a legality. Now, every state has different laws. In Nebraska, that has been decriminalized, which I personally think is a good thing. I don't want to see, oh, go ahead.
Decriminalized depending on the ages. So there's still, so
correct.
If
Thank you.
A 15-year-old sends it to a 30-year-old, we still have legality issues. There still is some criminal things that are happening there. But there's some age ranges, and I'm not going to quote those. I don't know them exactly, Stephanie. I have an idea, but I don't want to quote them and be wrong. Do you know what those were? It's much like
I think
consent with sex.
Age of consent, yeah. So 16 is the age of consent sexually in Nebraska. So I think anything over 16 and under like 15, 14, there's going to be some legal issues. And Beverly says, so even if both are underage, yes, because child pornography,
also
well, or
child
sexual exploit,
child
sexual
images. Child sexual
Thank you.
Images.
You were reading my mind because all of these words, we're kind of looking at words and how to identify appropriate words and not appropriate words. And when you say the word child and pornography and those two together, it almost gives an indication that that's something a child can consent to and they cannot at all. And so definitely changing that verbiage. But yes, so if I'm 14 and you're 14 and I send you a naked pic, I have sent child porn and you have received child porn or child sexual, say it again.
Child
sexual abuse images. Thank you. So yes, and what has happened in the past is that we had a group of 10th graders in Council Bluffs, actually, a while ago. They were sharing sex through, like somebody sent one and then it wound up going to a bunch of people. There were 3 to 4 kids that were busted and they went through the legal system and they were convicted. Now they're sophomores in high school and now they are registered sex offenders for the rest of their lives.
Yeah.
And is that an appropriate punishment for something that we do when we're, a sophomore?
So let's talk about that one a little bit. And I do want to move to porn because I think that's really important. So, but I do want to talk about that a little bit. Let me go back and talk about, so Stephanie's in Nebraska, I'm in Iowa, and our laws are different. So in this particular case, Nebraska has made these decisions already, and that is the direction that Nebraska has. They've decriminalized some of that with minors underage who are consenting and sharing those between each other. Now, if it gets further out than that, if Stephanie and I are 14 years old, we're sharing our stuff, we're consenting, that's decriminalized. But once Stephanie, we break up, whatever, get mad, whatever the situation is, and Stephanie shares my picture and I don't consent to that, then there is an issue there. Okay, so I just want to make that piece clear. That does not change my opinion on sending sext in general. It doesn't change my opinion, but I do want to share that. In Iowa, none of that is yet. So in Iowa, still, if 2 teenagers same age send nude photos, it can be a prosecutable case. Now, here's the thing about my personal opinion on the prosecuting teenagers. I always say this, it ages me, but whatever. I was the last generation, the last rough age range that didn't have technology, right? And in the way that we have technology now. Since I have graduated high school, smartphones came out and all the pictures and everything else. I still had a beeper in high school, so that kind of tells you how old I am.
I had a princess phone. So go ahead.
There you go. Okay. And so what happened, what caused this, some of what happened with this is that technology advanced far, far quicker than we were ready for. And so we have not educated, we've not done a great job as parents, as adults, of educating youth on how to appropriately use technology. And we have a lot of stuff. We're a hypersexual country, we're a hypersexual society in our world. And so that caught up way faster than we were ready to. So to me, just saying across the board, we should criminalize every teenager that shares sexting or engages in sexting. I don't think it's a one size fits all. It's not perfect for all scenarios across the board.
Right.
There are scenarios where that is a learning tool and can be there. And I'm not saying just like slap them on the hand and let them go, but I do think that there are situations where because we've also had people who have been abused in that way, and their pictures have been sent on, and then that person who has been a victim of that person gets charged with creation of child pornography.
Revenge porn is an exact issue of that. So revenge porn.
Yes. So exactly. And so I think that it's really important for us to not always jump on punishment. That's not the direction that I think that we should go. In some cases, that is legitimate, and that is probably the best option. But in some cases, it's also, it could be very good to sit down and have those conversations and get some help and maybe do some therapies and some other things. There are other ways to go about teaching. And we as adults have a responsibility to catch up and to figure out what we need to teach and how to go about that.
Yes, exactly. Hi, Paige. Good to see you.
Hi, Jill.
I'm glad you like the topic.
I wanted to reach out and say hi.
All right. So that really, now I got to tell a story because I was in middle school. Well, first, let me tell you this story. I was in a high school, and it's an alternative school. So it's the kids that, they're actually our favorite kids to work with, I got to tell you, but they're the kids that did not make it in a traditional school setting. And so they're in an alternative school learning that way. And these are amazing kids. But I was in a class and we were talking about sexting, and this was a group of high school kids. And one of the kids said, sexting? That is so 8th grade. Sexting is so 8th grade.
Oh my.
Hey, Amy, good to see you, Amy. Yes, so 8th grade. Now, I know, it's crazy, but I was also in a middle school, and the teachers were working with us to get a 6-week program in their school because they had a huge problem with sexting in their school. And there were a group of kids that had been sexting and really struggling. And so they called all the parents. They were talking to the parents about it. And one of the moms said, well, what's the problem with her sexting? I want her to be popular. I know. So we have got to teach not only our kids, we got to teach our parents too. We got to catch up, right? That's not good. That's not good. That's not the way to get popular. So, okay, shall we talk a little porn?
I'm going to let you dive.
And I want to hear, thank you. I want to hear your questions. I want to hear your comments. But we want to talk about porn too, because again, porn is a bit of a controversial issue. Now, back in the day when we people older than you, Yolanda, had yes, we are all 29. Back in the day, when we had wanted to look at porn, we had to find the Playboy in the dad's, drawer and go into a place with kids and find it and look at it. And that was how kids in my day saw porn for the first time. Now, today, it is literally at our kids' fingertips at all times. We've got Pornhub, one of the major porn sites online, and kids can access it at any given time. And the average age that a boy accesses porn, or sees, I should say, sees porn for the first time, the average age for a boy is 8 years old. 8 years old to see porn. Now, whether that's stumbling on porn, whether that's they're at a friend's house and somebody says, look at this because my older brother showed me, or whatever it is. For girls, it's 10. So our kids are seeing porn at a really young age. So now when you take that and then you take sexting, think about that connection, because for us, I think, sexting, why would we do that at a young age? But now they're viewing porn at potentially 8 years old. So sexting, is that really a big deal in their mind? I'm not sure if it translates to a big deal. Now, the other thing is that we have, trying to say this in a way that does not come across shame and blame, or we are in a society where our youth look at things like porn very differently than we do or did. And so there's some interesting statistics that are out there that I would just love to share with you, because it shows the difference that is going on. Now, interestingly enough, Webroot Cybersecurity says this, and they're tracking downloads and things like that. 28,258 users are watching pornography every second. 3,076 is spent on porn every second on the internet. And 40 million Americans regularly visit porn sites. 35% of all internet downloads. Think about how much you download in a day. 35% of internet downloads are all pornography related. That's huge, right? That is absolutely massive. So here we go. I want to talk about, now obviously we know there's a difference between men downloading porn and women downloading porn. But listen to this statistic, because this statistic absolutely shocked me. There was a study done in 2016 by the Barna Group that studied porn, the average percentage of porn views at least once a month. And 79% of 18 to 30-year-old males said they watched porn at least once a month. 79%. Of 18 to 30-year-olds. So I just want to get in the chat box, tell me what percentage of women 18 to 30 are watching porn. So we have 79% of males. What do you think is the female number? What percentage of females are watching porn? So just drop it in the chat box as we're talking. I would love to hear what your thoughts are. Hey, Emily, good to see you. Do you think the numbers have gone up during the COVID crisis? We're going to talk about that. That is a great question. Oh, my goodness. And the answer would be yes. Emily says 65% of females. What else do you guys? 79% of men. What percentage of females do you think in that 18 to 30 age group are watching porn on a monthly basis at least one time? Any other percentages? I love to see it. See, people are like, I don't want to guess because I'm going to guess too high. I'm going to guess too low. Beverly says the same. Amy says 30. If I could give a gold star to anybody, I would give a gold star to Beverly. You are so close to being right. The answer is 76% of women 18 to 30 are watching porn at least once a month. 76%. So yes, you guys are guessing good stuff. Julie, 75%, 45%. I wish we didn't have a delay. That would be, I wish it was like on, but now the number then 31 to 49, it changes to, this is just once a month. Let me find out. We've got men watching several times a week, 63%. Once a month is, okay, I'm looking at all my stats here. I can't find it. But men, no, I can't find the actual number. But men, then the number drops when we're talking 31 to 49 age group. Men stay at a 60-some percentage range. Women drop to like 30%. So there is a generational thing going on with porn and sexting and viewing. It's changing the dynamic. Now, here's something interesting too. Same study. 90% of teens and 96% of young adults are either encouraging, accepting, or neutral when they talk about porn with their friends. Only 54% of porn users that, as a whole, believe sexual acts that may be forced or painful are always wrong. And only 44% of porn users believe someone being depicted in a demeaning way is always wrong. So what are your thoughts about that? What do you think about that, Yolanda? I think the one that bothers me the most is the one that says forced sex or painful is not always wrong when it's depicted, and that demeaning ways of acts, not always wrong.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
So I have a lot of thoughts. Let me see if I can articulate them well. Good luck. So first of all, yes, extremely bothersome that there is such a high number that believe that force or pain is okay, right? With that. I am also struggling with, and I just really want to talk about those stats a little bit. And I know Bev's wanting to repeat those, but I'm kind of cautious about that because here's the thing. Just because so many people are doing it doesn't make it the right thing, right? Just because there's all of those people that are watching porn and everything, it doesn't make it okay. It's something that we need to consider. What now we don't have these stats readily available, but I think but there are, and I know what some of the stats say. I just don't know the exact numbers. But what percentage of those people are watching things that are painful? What percentage of people are watching things that are forced? What percentage of people are taking that further and further and further? And that is, those are concerning to me. And
exactly.
If we just look at the number of people watching porn, we're like, okay, everybody does it, not a big deal. But I really want to emphasize how much that grows, what that means. So there's this thing, there's a real thing as porn addiction and sex addiction, right? And the need for that, and how that it starts something simple, something normal, something whatever. And I'm trying to be very PG-13 here since we are live, but how we take that, how people who watch porn on a regular basis, then it's not enough to do those normal things, sexual things.
Well, look at Andrew's point here. I think this is a brilliant point, and you're absolutely right, Andrew. There's a bigger issue with the porn industry. Anybody can make it and share it on Pornhub or other sites like that, which means criminals can make it, which means traffickers can make it, which means we actually don't know if somebody is literally being forced on camera. And we don't actually know if the people who are performing in those videos are doing it willingly. That is a huge, you are so right on. You are so right on. And that is probably the scariest thing. And Julie says, yeah, just because the majority says it's okay does not make it okay. Right. Now, that's why we know, and I'm going to bring this back to trafficking, the trends in porn are very similar to the trends in trafficking. So when we see trends in porn, like youth, you know, young girl or young boy or whatever, those trends are mimicked in trafficking. And we had a really interesting.
Is that a chicken? What came first, the chicken or the egg? Because is it what's
right
in trafficking is being mimicked in pornography? Because we know that those things are tied together. Trafficking and pornography are tied. Those are linked.
Very linked.
That is.
Yep. Absolutely. Now, we had a really interesting conversation the other day about this very topic. And one of the things we started to talk about was that piece of demeaning women and that piece of, you know, why is it okay to, because the controversy about porn is this very thing. Who are you to tell me if I am watching porn in my home, who are you to tell me that I shouldn't watch porn, right? And I'm not going to tell you that you shouldn't watch porn. I mean, but that would be, I mean, that's not what I'm going to tell you. What I'm going to tell you is that if you are watching porn, you do not know if you are watching somebody being trafficked or not. And that would be enough for me to say, now here's the other thing. Do we want porn to define what a healthy sexual relationship looks like for us? And I, for one, do not.
So I want to elaborate on that because you said this to me the other day. We were having a discussion, preparing for something, and you said this to me, and it was amazing. And so let's elaborate on that. And I think the question is that, and how we talked about it was, I want to define what's okay for me. I don't want, it's the same things. It's the same argument as this hyper, objectification of women in magazines and ads and everything else. We see this standard of, you know, stick thin and has to be so, you know, so tall and have big lips and a big booty and all, whatever it is, right? It has this perfect, and as a woman, you should wear makeup all the time. Your hair should be done right. And you should wear the latest trending clothes, right? We have all these standards already that society places on us for me to determine my value, or for the rest of society to determine my value. Do I really want that in my bedroom? Is that really what? So then we take porn to that level, and now all of this stuff is out there, and these standards of what's happening in pornography are not necessarily set by the women who are in it, right? And so these standards that women have to be available for anything. Again, I'm trying to make it PG-13, but be available for anything except any type of abuse or things that I don't know how to do it all PG-13, but these standards and what's accepted as normal in pornography is not what I want my standards to be. As far, I want to determine my own sexual health. But
that, no, you're absolutely right. But that is why that we are seeing porn ruining things like marriages, because you've got pornography introduced. And the reason porn is so addictive is because you see an image, it takes 1/30th of a second to imprint that on your brain. That's something that doesn't go away. And then you continue that, and then you need more, and you need more, and you need more, or, you know, just like anything else. And so that's what happens. Now you introduce that into something like a marriage or a healthy relationship or something like that, and then all of a sudden, now I need more. The traditional regular sex is not going to do it for me. I need something different. And that's what happens. That's why the studies show that the more porn you watch, the less sex you actually have, because sex becomes something that you're not seeking, which is then why the sex trafficking trends. Because then if I can't get that, what I'm desiring from, it is hard to do porn PG-13, isn't it?
Yeah.
If I can't get what I'm desiring from my partner, then I'm going to have to go elsewhere. And I may have to purchase it. And then and already I don't look at the people that are in porn as human beings. I don't look at them. I look at them as objectified objects, because that's what they are. And so it's going to change. Now, the studies they've done on the brain, this is your brain on porn. The study they've done is that the brain of a porn addict looks very similar to the brain of a heroin addict. And that's a big, scary deal.
It is. It really, truly is.
Yeah. So I think for us, the biggest thing with porn, and I do want you to mention what we talked about this afternoon with some of the new things with the increase of COVID and what's happening and what's just skyrocketed in COVID. But yes, I think
that has an impact. Think of what that does to our youth. And actually, Julie, let's talk about real quick. So if we start, so already we know back in the day, primarily it was men, probably women too, but back in the day it was a little bit more men. It's evened out here more recently, but that we're watching porn or looking at pornographic images in magazines or whatever. And that's already objectified in my lifetime, has already increased the objectification of women, right? Now, if we start that at an early age, such as 10, 12, 13, how much longer, I mean, by the time that they're an adult, they've already formed what they think is healthy, what they think women should act like, or what others should do. Maybe it's not even women that they're watching. Maybe it's other, whatever it is, whomever it is.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Determined these are the roles and this is what's acceptable. And
the standard.
Yes. Now, I also want to mention one more thing, and I think this is extremely important, and I'm going to give a trigger warning here. There is a little bit of a trigger warning here with sexual abuse because it's kind of hard to hear. So I'm going to give a few minutes if you need to clear out your room of kids, or put your earbuds in, or whatever, if you need to leave yourself at all. I think that was enough time. So a few years ago, a year or two ago, I was working with, trying to remain anonymous here. I'm working with somebody who's somewhat in the law enforcement field, who's working with especially juveniles who have offended in the past. And what was astonishing to me is that we have seen a huge increase over the last several years of sibling on sibling sexual abuse. And the reason it has been pinpointed to be because pornography portrays stepmom, stepson, stepdad, stepson, stepbrother, sister, my sister's friend, my babysitter. It's portraying these fantasies that maybe a few people had, and portraying these as okay. And so we're starting to see these sexual encounters, rape, between siblings at very young ages, because That's how they're experimenting, and that's how they're learning.
Right.
Okay.
That's
So
scary.
I'm just going to put that out there.
Well, and it's terrifying. And I want to address something Beverly's saying here. She said, porn is becoming more mainstream. And that is true. You know, she mentions, do you think movies like 50 Shades of Grey contribute to that belief? And I think what I'll say is that, you know, absolutely we have seen a mainstreaming of porn and hypersexuality and all of that stuff. I was telling Yolanda the other day, I was watching Andy Griffith with my son, and the commercial that came on the Andy Griffith show was, I mean, bordering on the pornographic. I mean, it was not good. And so, yeah, primetime TV, little, you know, 50 show. And we have to start having those conversations with our kids because it is becoming normalized. And that normalization does affect traffic. It's all linked to trafficking and people doing harm and objectifying women and looking at people as if they are not human beings. They're objects.
Absolutely. Okay, so I did not answer one of the questions, and I'm not seeing it right now. I don't know why, but you asked it a minute ago, Stephanie, but I forgot to answer it. So here's what I can tell you. And I'm hold on, let me think it through, because I want to be very accurate in what I'm saying. The Polaris Project, PolarisProject.org is the project that houses the National Human Trafficking Hotline number and does a ton of research, is very they do a lot of the research, and they do all that. They're one of the trusted resources for human trafficking information in our nation. If you've not checked them out, please visit thepolarisproject.org. Learn a little bit more about our state, whatever state you're in, other states. Learn a little bit about trafficking in America, all in general. But they've recently released a report. I can't talk. They've recently released a report that said that COVID has impacted the human trafficking industry in a way that there has been a 40% increase in human trafficking crisis response in a 30-day period with COVID, because of COVID, versus pre-COVID. A 40% increase in crisis response for human trafficking in 30 days. Okay, so is that happening more with pornography? Is that happening more? And these are just the things that are needed. Now, somebody the other day said something about someone else reported that like Department of Human Services or something said that the calls are down. Let's clarify that. So if the calls are down, the reporting for some of those things, what's the difference in those two? Why opposite opinions on that? Reporting absolutely can be down, because think about this. Those who are in abusive situations, those who are being trafficked and are stuck with their trafficker, who can be family, who can be romantic relationships, who can be whatever they are, caretakers of any role, anybody, right? If they're trapped in those situations, do they have the opportunity to actually make the call? Think about children who have not been in school since March. We know that teachers are the largest group of people who call
reporting
the abuse hotline, right? They're the largest group that report that. So if that's the case and they haven't been at school for all these months, of course reporting will be down. Now, what that means, though, with the crisis response is the piece that is saying people who need are in imminent danger, who need immediate help, shelter, money, escape route, advocacy. There are people who are in imminent danger. Those are going up 40% and 30%.
Right. Right. That is huge. The other thing that is increasing, and that has been increasing specifically during COVID, are apps and websites where you post pictures and then people can subscribe to look at these photos of amateur naked pics, right? Yeah, amateur pornography. And so there are several different apps and websites that have just exploded.
We're not going to share
since
those
COVID.
We don't want to.
No, we're not going to share
those businesses or those places, but they have.
I will.
And you think about right now with COVID, the financial stress that families are under, the financial stress that individuals are under. Just know that human trafficking is a business first. It is not about sex. It is not about drugs and rock and roll or any of that stuff. Human trafficking is a business first. Okay. It is a business with a buyer, a seller, and a product. And right now, business is booming because it has to, because people need money. Okay.
Yep.
So,
absolutely.
All right. I think I feel really preachy at the moment, so I'm gonna settle down. And
you are sort of preachy.
I'm kind of passionate at the moment.
No, I think it's a good topic. So I think that we really need to, as parents, as community members, we need to work with our kids on this, because if you can imagine all of those things, and we've got kids on the phones, we've got kids doing their things, we know that sexting and porn has absolutely increased. We need to be having those conversations. We need to be making sure that our kids know that, you know, if you find out your kiddo has viewed porn at a young age, don't ignore it. Don't tell them, oh, yeah, wrong, move on. Have a conversation. Talk to them about what that means. Talk to them about what they might be feeling, because they might be feeling, again, with the sexting, they might be feeling uncomfortable and excited and, you know, curious all at the same time. And those feelings are okay. And just talking them through, okay, yes, those feelings are okay, but this is not for, you know, because of whatever. And so have those conversations with your kids. So I think this was a good conversation.
Yeah.
I feel good about it. Yeah.
Thank you.
So sexting and porn, absolutely a part of our youth lives. So let's keep on it. Keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on. You're one for the words tonight there, Stephanie. I
really am. You know what? We're traveling a lot this week, so words are not coming easy.
Yeah. All right. So
thank you, everybody, for joining us. Go ahead.
I would love if anybody has any ideas that they want for some of these podcast lives that we're going to be doing more in the future. And we have some ideas we want to do, but whatever you would like to hear, we will try to respond to those, especially if it doesn't have to be just human trafficking, but it can be other things that you're seeing in the media, other things that are related to this, you know, whatever it is. So let us know, text us, email us, go to our website at setmefreeproject.net. You can find a place there that's info and the info email account, or you can call us. That's our phone number. Let us know what you would like to talk about. Let us know what happened to you in your school, your organization, wherever.
Absolutely. And we'll be posting this. Yeah, we'll be posting this on YouTube. And so check us out on YouTube, subscribe and like and share. And let's keep having conversations. I like this. We'll be doing this Thursdays at 7-ish, around that. Sometime-ish. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a fabulous night. It was great talking to you, and we will talk to you later.
Bye, guys.
Have a good weekend. Bye.